Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. Inside of today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all the best gears for every single brawler in the game. As you guys know, with the new update, gears are going to change the game a ton. So giving you guys my prediction as to what I think two gears you'll be needing to use for every single brawler, and just giving you guys a bit more in depth as a pro player, my first initial thoughts. So before getting into today's video, make sure you're using the credit code in the shop. Mine would be greatly appreciated. And without further ado, let's jump into today's video. Alright guys, so before we go into the best gears for every single brawler in the game, just thought I'd quickly touch on the progression system, give you guys my thoughts on the new progression. Of course, it's going to change Brawl Stars a lot from what I'm kind of used to. I've been playing it for nearly 4 years now. I think I've probably been playing it for 4 years. It's been a long time since it's kind of changed. So as you can see on the screen, there's now power, well, it is now power level 11. That is kind of crazy to see. So also now with power 9, you get the chance to unlock a star power, just like with the gadget at power 7. So don't automatically go to that power 10 once you unlock the star power, and then at power number 10 you get the chance to unlock one gear, and then at power 11 you get the chance to unlock another gear. So it's going to be a huge change. You're going to need the power points and coins to go through every single power level again, so it's going to be a very expensive update. Of course, at the start of it I was a little bit worried because I didn't have many boxes saved up, but Brawl Stars has been crying out for this change for a long time, so I'm really going to enjoy this change as well. So the way you get gears as well, you get a gear token in boxes, I believe, and you upgrade it. Well, you actually add that gear token onto a brawler with scrap. So it's going to be like 2 new forms of currencies in boxes now. So the way I actually saw it in, I've seen it in the sneak peeks and everything else. So with a gear, you can only bound that gear to one brawler. So you'll unlock like the gear token in the box, and then you can only put it to one brawler. So once you use a scrap token for that one brawler, you're not going to be able to get it back. So you've got to choose it wisely. Of course, you've got like 50 different speed, 50 different health ones, 50 different damage ones. You get the point. You have to use those tokens every single time to upgrade them. So it's going to be very, very costly. So progression, let me know down in the comment section below what you think of all of this. So yeah, let's jump into the main point of the video now. Alright guys, so starting off with Shelly. Shelly will be a hard one. She's the worst brawler in the game right now. Gears can probably change a lot in the meta, whether brawlers are going to be like the best brawlers in the game or the worst. We'll have to wait and see what it's actually like in the live build. But for me, I think definitely speed gear is going to be the one you're going to be looking for in most brawlers, but especially with Shelly. You want to be sneaky with Shelly, especially in bushes. You get 25% speed boost. You want to close that gap with Shelly, and obviously the speed's going to help you get closer to him, deal a lot more damage. So speed's definitely going to be the number one you need to get with Shelly. Then I feel like you've got a couple of different options. I probably still feel like the shield will be a decent option for Shelly. Of course, it's really hard to get up close with them, so just getting that additional HP is going to be really good for her. Okay, so next up we have Nita. So again, I probably suggest getting the speed one with Nita. The speed one's just going to be absolutely insane, especially with Nita. She's going to be as fast as Max with this speed boost, so try and get that one. She's going to catch a lot of people off guard. And then in my opinion, I probably feel like the damage is going to be really good with Nita. She does a surprising amount of damage, and she has a really fast reload speed, so I think giving her that extra damage can just be devastating to the enemy. So next up we have Colt. So for me, I feel like there's 2 clear ones that you're going to be having to pick with Colt. So damage one is going to be really good with Colt. It does a lot of damage already. Adding that 20 extra percent damage is going to be devastating to the enemy. And next up, going to be giving him the shield as well. That's just going to be a little bit of a better boost. I don't think speed's going to be that great with him, because you're kind of contradicting it, because with Colt you want to break open the map, destroy a bunch of bushes. So you're going to probably pick Colt as a counter pick to the enemy in the next meta. Okay, so next up we have Bull. So I feel like gears are kind of made more towards tanks in my opinion. I feel like you can go every single gear with tanks, so you've got to bear that in mind. Tank's going to be very flexible, so maybe the gears that you can't put onto other brawlers, you can definitely put onto tanks. So what I'm saying by this, I'll quickly go through this one. It's probably going to be the same for every single tank. So with Bull, speed, of course, when you're inside bushes, that's going to be the most, well, for the most part, you're going to be with tanks. You want to be sneaking up in the bushes, giving them the extra speed, especially with a brawler like Bull, where he does more damage up close. That's going to be really good for him. But recovering 200 health per second when stationary, it's going to be really good for the high HP brawlers like the tanks. So of course, bear that in mind when you're upgrading them. Extra damage, I feel like Bull probably does enough damage anyway. Maybe this is the gear that you're not going to be looking towards for him. Resistance, I feel like this can be really good, especially if you're predicting on the enemy team like a Crow, or in Power League, say for example they've got a crow or a bee or some form of slow, you can change that gear to resistance, and it's going to give you that little bit of leeway and make you push them a lot easier and not get countered as harder. And then the extra shield as well, just giving them that extra HP is really good. So I feel like with tanks, you can actually go every single. Okay, so next up we have Jessie. So I feel like the HP one is kind of made for her in my opinion. So the reason why I feel like the HP one is going to be the best is because of the energized star power. A lot of the times you're just spending ammo just constantly hitting up that turret. You're not allowing yourself to heal, so the HP one is going to allow you to heal, especially if you're just camping in a bush. You can just keep shooting the turret and you're going to be healing yourself as well. I feel like that's going to really be playing well for Jessie in my opinion. Maybe it plays out differently, I don't really know. And then probably going to be looking towards the damage or the shield. So next up we have Brock. So I feel like the shield one is probably going to be the best one for Brock. He's a really squishy brawler. It's one of the main reasons why he gets countered a little bit too easily instead of Brawl Stars. So I feel like with a lower HP brawlers, shield is going to be the best one. So yeah, shield's probably going to be the best one. And then it's obviously a debate as to what kind of map you play really. I feel like the damage could be pretty good or the health one could be. Okay, so next up we have Dynamite. I feel like no gear is really going to make Dynamite that much stronger, which is a little bit disappointing, but maybe like the speed in bushes might be a little bit of a help because he can get away from the tankier or more aggro brawlers. But other than that, I mean, they're going to help him a little bit, but it's not really going to change him too much. So I feel like you can just play around with his gears and test out which one's going to be better. Okay, so next up we have a Bow. So I feel like Bow's ones are going to be pretty balanced overall. None of them really too strong. I feel like damage one is going to be probably the best one because he already does a really good amount of damage, and with that even more damage, is going to just shred people secretly. People are going to really underrate him, especially with that damage. But yeah, other than that, I don't feel like any of these really stand out. So I feel like you could just probably use any of them. Okay, so next up we have Tick. So I feel like with Tick, it's going to be pretty obvious to which ones you're going to use. There's probably three that really stand out for me. So you've got the shield one. He's really low HP brawler. Giving him that extra HP is going to be really strong. So the health one as well, it's going to be really toxic. I feel like this one combined with the well-oiled star power is going to lead to a lot of regen in health, and it's going to be pretty toxic to take him down. And then also the speed one, of course, getting away from aggro brawlers, it's going to help him escape. Okay, next up we have 8-bit. So the speed one is probably going to be the most perfect one for 8-bit in my opinion because he's the slowest brawler in the game. So giving him any additional speed is going to work wonders with him. So definitely you're going to have to get the speed one with 8-bit in my opinion. Next up, I'm not really too sure what you probably choose. Damage could be really good in game modes like Heist, for example. If you combine it with the extra credits gadget, is probably going to combine for a lot of damage, especially with his turret as well. I feel like it's going to be really powerful. So it's probably situational with the other ones, but definitely in my opinion you've got to get the speed one. Okay, so next up we have Ems. I don't feel like any of these gears kind of stand out for Ems. I feel like the one that probably is going to be best for her is the speed one because of course she's really bad up close. So giving her that additional speed is going to help her get away from those mortises a little bit easier, and that's probably going to be the better gear for me. You can probably use any of these and they'll be pretty good. Okay, and lastly for the trophy red brawlers we have Stu. So Stu, the only problem or weakness for him I can think of is getting that first dash and getting outranged by other enemies. So I feel like the speed and the shield one is going to help you push towards the enemies. I can think of like one matchup, for example, like the Bell interaction where Bell 3-taps Stu. So giving him that additional shield is going to help him in that interaction and not allow him to get 3-taps anymore. So the shield one probably going to be the best one for me. Speed one, the damage one, they're all going to be pretty strong. Okay guys, so we've gone through all the trophy road brawlers. Now I'll probably go through things a lot quicker as I've already gone into pretty good depth as to why you should probably pick certain gears on certain brawlers. So we'll go through the next ones pretty quick. So with the gears on El Primo, again with tanks you got to kind of think the same. So with speed you're going to be getting close to the enemies, so that's going to be really good for him. And then additionally you got to probably look at the matchup you're kind of facing. All of them are going to be pretty strong with tanks, so you got to assess it right there. So Primo, that's going to be pretty good. So next up with Barley. So Barley is an interesting one because he's a thrower. So throwers are probably going to be a little bit harder for the gears in my opinion. Maybe the speed again to get away from the aggro brawlers and probably make your shots a little bit more accurate. You got to remember that one. The HP, especially considering he's a low HP brawler, can be pretty strong. So shield probably going to be one of the better options for him. So next up we have Poco. So Poco is going to be a healer. So in my opinion, maybe like the HP one is going to be pretty good for him because for the most part you're kind of focusing on your teammates and especially trying to keep Poco alive. The enemy team are going to go for that healer more so than like the tanks. So the extra HP is going to be really good for him. So probably I feel like their health and the shield is going to be best for Poco, trying to keep that healer alive for as long as possible. So lastly, on the rarity, we have Rosa. So Rosa's even more so with that HP. A lot of times in competitive right now, people are actually using the grow light gadget to obviously try and divert the enemy attention, just not really knowing where the Rosa is. Rosa's probably just going to be stationary somewhere, so having that HP gear is going to be really good for her, because she's going to be healing up even more combined with that star power. So I feel like it's going to be really strong. The additional speed is going to allow us to get closer to the enemies, and I feel like it can be really toxic, especially considering if you combine this with like a max as well. It's going to be really strong, and I feel like these ones are probably going to be more situational, so that's going to be rare. Let's move on to the next rarity. Okay guys, so next up we have the super rare rarities. So with Rico, I feel like you can run quite a few different builds with him. So if you think about the Robo Retreat star power, imagine if you have that with the speed and with the damage as well, it's going to pair really well. So I feel like you can have a lot of different builds with Rico. Of course, if you heal him back, if you've obviously won your matchup in a Rico versus Rico and you go back to heal it up, you're going to be healing it up really strong with his gear as well. I feel like I can go a lot of different ones with Rico. So next up we have a Daryl. So Daryl, a tank, I feel like again you could just use every single one. It's going to be really good. Again, for me, Daryl, you're going to be dealing more damage up close, so that speed, getting closer to the enemy, especially whilst in bushes, I feel like it's going to be the best gear by far for him. And then it's kind of up to you which one you really want to pick. All of them going to be pretty strong with Daryl in my opinion. So next up we have Penny. So Penny, for me, is a really weak brawler, and I don't think any of these are really going to help her in her 1v1 situations. I just feel like her mechanics are just really weak, and none of these are really going to help her in her fight. Maybe the additional speed is going to allow you to hit shots a little bit more easier. So again, probably going to look towards speed, especially considering she's one of the worst brawlers in the game. You might want to use that speed gear on Penny. So next up we have Carl. So Carl, again, not really one a brawler that's used much at all. I don't think the gears are going to help him too much. Maybe like the extra damage could be really good with him, but again, like, it's kind of just up to you which one you want to pick with this one. I don't think any of them are really going to influence him in the battlefield too much. It's just maybe if you've got a spare scrap token you want to put on him, you can just put it on him and it's going to do a decent job. So next up we have Jackie. Again, that additional speed with tanks is going to be so strong. I think you've just got to use the speed ones on the tanks 100%. It's going to be really dangerous in this tank meta for me, in my opinion. So probably going to use like resistance or something like that. The real slow effects on tanks are going to hurt them a lot, so especially with Jackie. So I think that extra resistance is going to be really good for her. Okay, so now going on to the epic brawlers, starting off with Piper. So straight away, Piper, low HP brawler, so you're going to probably look towards the gears that are going to give her that additional HP, or going to help her heal up a lot quicker. So the health and the shield going to be pretty good with her. Straight off, I can see that damage, especially combined with the ambush star power, is probably going to be really strong. So look out for that build for sure with Piper. So next up we have Pam. So Pam, for me, you can definitely use quite a lot of different builds. I feel like she might get countered by certain brawlers, so maybe like resistance can be really good. I can think of like Crow, for example, is a really good counter to her. So if you're facing like a Crow, that can be a good counter. Shield, don't feel like she really needs the extra HP. Damage can be pretty good. HP, like all of them can be pretty solid with Pam. She's overall a really well-rounded brawler, so any of these are just going to help her kit in the long run. So next up we have Frank. So again, with Frank, I feel like maybe like the resistance, like the stun and the slow effects are going to be really vital to getting Frank down. So maybe that's going to help him survive a little bit better. The additional speed, of course, is going to be really good for tanks. All of them are going to be really good with Frank, in my opinion. So next up we have BB. So BB, for me, going to be really good with the shield, especially if you use the shield with even like the shield star power as well. I feel like that can be really toxic. That could be a cool combination for sure. But again, like all of them are going to be really good for her. Tanks are going to be the most flexible by far, in my opinion. So next up we have B. So B, low HP brawler. Straight away, you've got to think about additional shield. It's really going to help her in those gunfights. She's well, one of the lowest HP brawlers in the game, so that's really going to help her pretty good. So damage going to be really good for her, and health, I don't think speed's really going to be a necessity for B, in my opinion. So next up we have Nanny. So Nanny, again, one of those sharpshooter brawlers, so you're probably going to look or put brawlers into certain categories when you're picking gears. So speed, don't think that's really going to help Nanny too much. HP, I mean, that probably can be decent on certain maps. Again, it's just going to be based around that. Damage, Nanny already does a lot of damage. Imagine giving Nanny even more damage. It's going to be even more devastating. You get what I mean? Damage on damage equals kills. And next up, probably shield is going to be pretty good as well. Nanny's not the highest HP brawler, so probably going to look towards the damage and the shield for Nanny. So next up we have Edgar. Everyone's probably dreading this one with Edgar. Edgar can get a lot of different toxic gears right here. So the extra speed with the speed boost he already gets from his jump it's going to be crazy OP, guys. I think that's going to be really strong. I think the HP one, you're not really standing still with Edgar a lot, in my opinion. Maybe if you pop your gadget, you might healing. I don't feel like this one's going to be that good. Extra damage when you're low in HP. I feel like you're pretty low in HP near enough all the time with Edgar, so that's going to be even more powerful. And that additional shield as well on landing is going to be really toxic, in my opinion. Edgar, I feel like could be very meta with the gears coming in. So lastly, with Griff. So Griff really isn't the best brawler right now. I feel like all of them are just going to be okay for him. None of them really stand out strong for me, in my opinion. Maybe like the additional damage. He does a lot of damage with his supers, so imagine just chaining those supers even more, just shredding the opponents even more. Probably going to look towards that damage one, so that is going to be that rarity right there. Let's jump into the next one. Alright guys, so now moving on to the Mythic category, starting off with Mortis. Again, just like Edgar, the Assassin Brawlers, I feel like are going to be really toxic with these gears. I don't know about you guys, but that shield gear is going to seem really dangerous, especially with the Assassin. So shield, definitely going to be one gear, but I'm going to be looking towards for sure. Additional damage can be really strong. The additional HP, allowing you to heal up, get into the gunfights a lot quicker, going to be really strong. And the speed, closing the gap down from you and your opponent, especially if you're looking to counter those even squishy brawlers. It's going to be really strong. I feel like he's going to be amazing with these gears. So next up we have Tara. So Tara, I don't feel like any of these really stand out for me, in my opinion. Maybe the additional speed, because again, Tara's a brawler where she does more damage when you're up close with her, so you're probably going to look towards speed with those type of brawlers. HP, maybe, I don't know, it's going to be all right damage. She does a lot of damage already, so it could be pretty good. Shield, I don't feel like it's going to be the strongest with her. So next up we have Jean. Jean, I feel like speed is going to be insane with Jean. Imagine the additional speed with the pull as well. It's going to be really strong. You're going to pull opponents even further away from you, if you get what I mean. It's going to increase the max tile distance for those Jean pulls. I can't wait for that. You guys know I'm a Jean main. That's going to be a really strong gear for him. So HP as a mid, I feel like it's going to be a really good gear, because obviously you want to stay up for as long as possible as the mid brawler, especially in gem grabs. So the HP is going to allow you to stay up for longer. The additional damage, he does a good amount of damage already, so that could be an okay one. I feel like you're not really hitting people direct with Jean. Most time you kind of scout, it's not going to be the best probably. And the additional shield as the gem carrier can really be a strong gear. So next up we have Max. So additional speed with Max. Max is already really speedy. More speed is just going to add even more carnage. I just feel like there's going to be a lot more speed in this meta now, so Max is going to be really strong with that one. Probably the additional speed probably going to be the better one for me. In additional speed, I mean additional shield is going to be better for me, especially if you're using like the phase shifter gadget, and then you've got the shield, you know, you're walking it in a Brawl. That's going to be really strong. So next up we have Mr. P. So 4 more mythics to go. There's a lot of mythics to get through right here. So Mr. P, I don't feel like, again, I'm not really picking resistance on any of these brawlers, by the way. I feel like resistance is going to be one of those gears that is going to be like a counter pick. I don't think that's going to be used too much. I'm really not liking that one. Damage, Mr. P kind of fell out of the meta with his damage, so giving him that additional damage might increase his viability a little bit more. And then again, you can kind of just use whatever gear you want. So damage probably going to be the strongest one for me. So Sprout, again, that gear of getting away from those aggro brawlers, getting that additional speed boost, that's probably going to be a really strong one with throwers as well, in my opinion. HP, I don't feel like it's going to be the best one. Maybe shield, giving him that additional HP, especially if you combine this with like the photosynthesis star power. I think it just allows for so many combinations. It's kind of blowing my mind just going through all of these. So next up we have Byron. So Byron, I feel like, again, like that additional shield, he's a really squishy brawler, and that's going to really hurt him in the middle, and especially when facing off against Mortis, for example, I can think of. He just absolutely terrorizes me whenever I face off against him. As Byron, giving him the additional shield, it's going to help him in that interaction and actually survive more than 3 dashes, so that's going to be really good for him. And then other than that, maybe like resistance, I feel like people use Crow as a counter to Byron because it gives him less healing and less damage, so probably the resistance is going to be really strong for him. But all of these are going to be pretty decent overall. So lastly we have Squeak. So again, I feel like damage is probably like the category he's probably lacking on the most, really. I don't feel like he needs that additional shield. It kind of needs that recovery in health, not really too much speed. Again, not really the best for him. So that's going to be all of Mythic. Let's hop into the next one. Alright guys, so now moving on to the legendary brawlers, starting off with Spike. So straight away, low HP brawler, so probably going to look towards the shield star power. That's probably going to star power the gear. That's probably going to be the one you're going to be getting first. And then next up, probably up to you which one you want to pick. It's out of these three, again, resistance not going to be strong. Damage, Spike already does a lot of damage, so giving him that extra damage, probably it's going to be really devastating for their enemy team. So next up, we have Crow. So Crow already is really speedy. Imagine him getting even more speed. It's going to be even more toxic and even harder to hit Crow. So that's probably going to be a really good gear for him. And giving him that additional shield is probably going to be really strong. So look to get the speed and the shield gear, in my opinion. So next up, we have Leon. So Leon, imagine him with the Invisi heal and then the additional speed in the bushes. Again, speed is just going to be the gear that you're looking towards with every single brawler, in my opinion, especially with Leon. So next up as well, probably like the additional shield. If you're looking as an assassin type brawler, that shield's going to be really help you in that first gunfight. That first shot that they're going to fire is going to allow you to probably get you the kill. So next up, we have Sandy. So Sandy, again, already a fast brawler. Sandy can really struggle in range, so I feel like the speed can really help Sandy get that super. So I feel like that's probably going to be a really strong one for Sandy, in my opinion. And then it's probably up to you. Really flexible on the other three gears, so you don't really have to stress with Sandy, in my opinion, in terms of gears. So next up, we have Amber. So imagine, again, like the Amber with the speed. If you use the gadget, you get the additional speed. Imagine her with the speed gear as well in a bush. You're just going to auto-aim everyone to death. It's going to be so scary. I feel like they probably need to nerf this gear already. It's going to have so much usage, in my opinion. So in other words, I feel like additional damage can be really strong with her. Probably, again, you can be really flexible with that one. So next up, we have Meg. Straight away, she's one of the, well, I think she's the lowest HP brawler in the game, so giving her that additional shield is going to be really strong. Already, Meg is one of the best brawlers in the game, and I feel like this shield gear is just completely made for her. And then additional damage as well. She doesn't do a lot of damage right now, so giving her that additional damage, I feel like it's going to be best. So for me, I feel damage and shield is going to be stronger. Alright guys, so now going on to the final rarity, we have Chromatic. So Chromatic, starting off with Gale. Again, I don't think any of these really help him too much, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's something that'll make him really strong. Maybe additional damage could be really strong with him. Other than that, I don't think any of these are really going to help him become a much better brawler. They're going to help him alright, but of course, he's just pretty trash anyways in the meta. So next up, we have Surge. So again, I feel like the speed one's going to be really insane with Surge. With that level 1, he's super slow. So giving him some additional speed with that first level, it's going to really help him get those powers. So that's going to be really strong for him. Additionally, I think all of these are just going to be okay with him. Maybe that extra damage can be pretty strong for him. So next up, we have Colette. So Colette, one of the worst brawlers in the meta, in my opinion, not really used at all right now in competitive, and all of these are going to be okay with her. I feel like this shield can really help her, especially with her super. I feel like it's going to be a really good combination for me, in my opinion. And probably like damage, she doesn't do a lot of damage, especially when the brawlers are low HP, because of course her normal attack is just based off percentages. So I feel like the damage is going to help her a little bit more. So next up, we have Lou. So Lou is going to be, I don't even really know, like with his gears, it's not really going to help him too much. Probably damage, he does a lot of damage already. It's probably going to help him a lot more, but probably speed is going to help him just hit shots more consistently. So probably for me, I would look towards the speed and the damage gears, because that's just how it kind of rolls in Brawl Stars for me. Mechanics. So next up, we have Ruffs. So again, I feel like additional damage can be really strong, especially if you have those power-ups with Ruffs. It does actually quite a surprising amount of damage with that power-up, and if you give him additional damage, it's going to be really strong. And probably shield, he's not really squishy, but he's still on the low side. A lot of times he will get countered because he just gets too tapped by those long-range brawlers, so the additional speed can really help him out. Well, the additional shield or the speed can really help him. Both are going to be really good. So next up, we have Belle. So Belle, again, kind of a low HP brawler, the sharpshooter role. I would say more towards the shield. I'll probably put the shield as a number 1, and then all of these going to be pretty strong for her. So probably damage, she did get a nerf in the previous update, so the damage can be pretty strong. Okay, so next up we have Buzz. So another assassin brawler. You kind of get the gist of how assassin brawlers are going to work, in my opinion. So shield is going to really help in those interactions for me. Maybe like the speed, he's got really low range, so getting closer to the enemy with that speed is going to be really strong. It's obviously like a kind of a tankier brawler. He's near like 6,000 HP, I think. So they're giving him that additional HP well, additional HP, allowing him to heal up much quicker. It's going to be really strong as well, so that's probably going to be a good resistance for Buzz. More so, probably going to be strong because I feel like a lot of time I get countered with Buzz because of like a Crow Slow or like a Bell Trap or something like that. So next up we have Ash. So for me, again, probably the additional speed. He already is super speedy when he's at full rage. Imagine him with even more speed. It's going to increase his range as well. Going to be pretty strong. All of these going to be really good for him, in my opinion. Then lastly, Lola, one of the best brawlers in the meta right now. All of them going to be super strong. I'd probably even give it like an additional shield. That's going to be pretty strong. She does a lot of damage already. All of these going to be strong. Alright guys, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Kind of just giving you guys my first thoughts on all the gears and what I think will be the best. Of course, it's going to change when it gets into the game. So I hope you enjoyed this type of video. Don't really do these videos too often where I just talk constantly over and over again about different gears. So I feel like some of the brawlers are really easy to pick, in my opinion, on what gear is going to be the strongest. And then there's just a lot of them where I don't feel like the gears is going to really change too much about them. Of course, it's going to make them a lot stronger. Well, a lot stronger, a bit stronger. It's going to be a little bit hard to judge which one's going to be strong, in my opinion, but I feel like I've got a good reflection of which ones are going to be strong. Of course, it's probably going to change when the update actually hits. So of course, get your notifications on because I'll be doing so many videos on this. It's going to be absolutely insane. So yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.